Oh,
He's assigned, and he's supposed to go and sign us up for these, you know, and we're working. We're not there to
right,
be tourists, but he's going to
right,
come to
right.
the ship anyway and sign us up to take tours because they're so concerned about making a good impression, and they want the ships to continue to come back. So they think that if they take really good care of us, that more ships will come and trade will reopen. And so he shows up to schedule all this stuff, and he looks at me and he just went, uh. And I said,
Why? Why?
um,
Why?
is there,
Because you were a woman?
yep, is there a
Uh-huh.
problem? And he, he was like, no, he recovered so quickly and he was so wonderful. The stuff we got to see. Oh my gosh. And
Mm.
it was cold and it was
Mm-hmm.
so foreign to anything that any of us had ever seen, just like your trip to the
Right,
Tigers. It was so
right,
cold and
right,
so different. And the guide was such a different personality than you thought he was going to be.
right,
And
right.
yet,
Well, that,
the beauty of what we got to see was amazing,
hmm well,
unforgettable.
I totally identify with that experience because, as you read the book, I'm sitting in a freezing Jeep, 6 in the morning, and this guy wrapped in a pink scarf gets into our Jeep, and I'm the only person in the Jeep because there's no tourists, there's nobody in India as far as I can tell traveling at that point, at least certainly not in central India. And he gets in our Jeep, he doesn't say hello to me, he's got a pink scarf wrapped around his head, and my driver turns to me and says, "We got the best guide in India." And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And he never says a word to me. And I'm like, okay, wait, if he's the best guide in India, why doesn't he talk to me? He doesn't tell me anything. And we're driving around, and then it's a moment in the book, but I love this moment when he'd raise a finger, we'd stop, and then he'd listen, and then we'd go on. But that was it as far as I could tell. And then at one moment, a bird flew past me and behind him, and I just said, "Oh, what was that?" And he said, "It was a green bee eater." And I said, "How did you know?" And he said, "I could hear its wings." And I thought, okay, this guy is listening for things that I can't even begin to hear. And he was my guide. That was it. Ajay was incredible, and he taught me a lot, and he spoke eventually a little bit. But, it was this very special experience, experiencing the jungle and the depths of the jungle the way this man heard things, the things he could hear. That was the beauty of it to me. Because see,
It
one of the things
sounds
about
like
tigers
it was
also, just
so
so I could just
cool.
throw this in, is that I said earlier, you don't search for tigers, you search for signs of tigers. And one of the signs is the sounds that other animals make if a tiger's near. So he could read all of those sounds for, really over great distances. He could tell when a deer was calling its fawn just to call it to come back, and when there was a tiger within the vicinity of the herd of deer. And it was quite extraordinary, really.
I think that's so cool. And it speaks to the fact that everybody has such different and unique talents. And it's just so amazing that he had that ability and you got to witness it and you got to go along for the ride and experience it.
Right.
And that was just so cool.
I mean, I really loved it. I really, and I also think what you're saying is really great because, I think one of the mistakes we make with ourselves and also with other people is that, for example, I have a friend who's really, really terribly dyslexic and cannot read at all. I mean, literally doesn't read, but has a way of spatially taking in the world that's quite extraordinary, and can see things and details that I don't see. So, learning how people, learning our capacities, learning that different people love in different ways. I think all of those, rather than bringing only our own perspective to everything, just actually literally seeing things from other people's eyes, walking in another person's shoes. That to me is actually one of the hearts of travel, is trying to see the world with fresh eyes.
It is. And trying to see the world with honest eyes.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
And when you
I love the idea of honest eyes.
And when you go and it's not peak season, and they're not running at peak capacity, and they don't have all the touristy services up and running, it is so cool, because then that's when you get to see what there really is to see.
Right.
And you get to know people that you really want to know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's really true. We've all been in those situations, and there have been moments where I was like, when I've gotten myself into a tourist situation that I know better than to get into it. Like once I had a guide in Morocco and Fez, and I knew he was going to take me to a rug dealer, even if I told him not to take me to a rug dealer. I knew that moment was going to come. And so we also have to be aware of when our relationship in those situations is simply transactional, or when you're actually having a real, authentic, human, honest experience.
Exactly. And, you don't have to travel for very long before you figure that out.
No, you don't.
I was awfully young when I found some of that out. It was like, wait a minute, this isn't good. What am I doing? At one point, we were docked in a city, and nobody else could get off the ship because they were, there were some repairs being made, and they were working cargo, and they said, look, you're the kid, you're here for training, go walk around, enjoy it, see what you can see. So I did. And I was 18, if that.
Oh my God.
Blonde, blue-eyed, as pale gets, the, ignoramic, American girl. And I'm walking around in this foreign port by myself, thinking that all is fine with the world, because that's the way you do it at home, right?
Right.
Wearing jeans and a t-shirt, by the way, which is not the way you do it in the rest of the world, just in case you've never traveled. And
yes, right.
And so it didn't take me long to realize that someone was following me, and no matter where I went or what I did, that person followed me. So I went into a shop and I said, do you speak English? And the man looked at me and went, no. And then he said, he saw the person following me go by, and he said, you are in danger, come out the back door. And that was all the English he knew. And he says, I don't know, and he couldn't tell me what to do because he couldn't communicate it. And so I thought, okay, well, if he recognizes the danger and the hair on my arms is standing up, I need to get back to the ship.
Right.
So I turned around and I went back to the ship, and the first officer I saw wasn't even somebody that was in any way responsible for me. And I said, I've been followed and now I am frightened. And he said, what in the world were you doing by yourself? He said, you wait till I get off shift and I will take you on a tour, and then you will be safe.
Right.
And that was everybody's notice on that ship, that what they normally did with the people in training, the guys, was not necessarily going to work for the females.
Right. No, and I mean, I think,
women have women that night going, okay, I had a really exciting day.
Right. Exactly. No, I mean, women have to move. We move through the world differently than men. Our experiences aren't the same. And, take this in the right way. But I thought when you said he sent you out the back door, I thought, oh God, what if there was something worse out there? What if?
No, he was truly being lovely and looking out for me. Thankfully.
Right. Well,
I wouldn't have known.
people ask me all the time if I've ever had anything bad happen to me on the road. And the truth is I haven't. And I think the reason is, for whatever reason, I've always had really good antennae for those kinds of situations, or street smarts or whatever. I've always kind of known when to turn around and when to stop doing something or going somewhere. I don't know. I guess I've been lucky, but I've also, I don't know. You get a gut feeling about people.
Absolutely. And when you've traveled a lot, you keep that instinct honed because you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be careful for yourself and for the people that you take with us. I'm so sad we're running out of time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I could keep talking to you.
I know, it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
But before we go, I want to make sure we tell people that the book, All the Way to the Tigers, is available. It is a featured book at the Miami Book Fair, which is miamibookfair.com, and that people will be able to get it. All you have to do is search for it, All the Way to the Tigers or Mary Morris, but it is certainly well worth the read. And I want to thank you for being on the show today, Mary. It's been so much fun just talking to you.
Thank you, Rhonda. Oh, no, I love your observations.
And book was so good.
Thank you. Thank you. And I loved hearing your experiences. They're fabulous. You should write a book. I hope you will.
Okay, I'll call you if I need help, because
call
clearly,
me up. Yes.
I got a degree in engineering and I deal with numbers. Writing a book might not be my forte. All right, everybody.
Well, it sounds like you've got incredible experiences. Thank you, Rhonda, very much.
Thank you, everybody. Until next time, don't forget, this is Rhonda Cobb, the Money Coach. If you need me, reach out. The website is rcmoneycoach.com. And don't forget, be grateful and you will attract good things.